Hey guys, Desolator Magic here. I'm still sick and I still really don't want to make videos right now, but guess what? A whole bunch of spoilers were released, so let's jump into it. I'm going to burn through these really quick, but this might be like a two-parter or something because they, I think, released like the entirety of Unstable. I don't know, don't care, don't have time to research it. So let's start with Animate Library. That just sounds awesome. Well, this one starts with enchant your library, and honestly, they enchant players, permanents, everything, so why not? I'm surprised they haven't done this in Standard yet. You know what? Actually, I think they have. Anyway, Enchanted Library is an artifact creature on the battlefield with power and toughness each equal to the number of cards in it. It's still a library. Ooh. If Enchanted Library would leave the battlefield, exile Animated Library instead, so that obviously you don't exile the entire library. So it's still functional as a library because you just basically put an aura on it. In fact, this is literally an aura. And let's say you have 40 cards left. Well, it's a 40-40. I mean, that's insane. So one swing and you could win the game, I mean, for 6. So this is one of the most powerful cards in the set by far. But unfortunately, it doesn't have the weakness where if you exile it or destroy it, their entire library goes with it, which I totally would have done, but I don't know. It kind of seems unfair. By the way, you ever started studying and say, I'm going to hit the books? Guess what the flavor text is? Sometimes the books hit back. I love it. Next up, Chittering Doom, which I could have sworn was already a card, but it's an enchantment. It's got a bunch of squirrels on it. That's cool. Whenever you roll a 4 or higher on a die, create a 1/1 green squirrel creature token, and you have to have a game-related reason to roll the die. So this would be awesome with a high roll deck, which I do believe is red-green. So look for that. Next up, and this one's pretty hilarious, although it's going to result in some kind of lawsuit. Chivalrous Chevalier. Is that? I don't know. I'm just going to call it a Chevy Cavalier. How about that? It's a flying 3/3 for 5, and whenever it enters the battlefield, return a creature you control to its owner's hand unless you compliment an opponent. I guarantee that if they play some kind of side thing at a GP, somebody's going to turn it into some kind of harassment complaint or something. I mean, literally, you could be like, you look pretty, and they'll be like, harassment, and you'll be like, they'll just delete your DCI number on the spot. Because remember, all of the women in MTG have been conditioned to think that they're constantly victims and we're all pigs, according to Mark Rosewater. Anyway, that's a topic for another video. This isn't even a terribly good creature. I mean, it's a 3/3 flyer, but it costs 5. But you could, I don't know, choose to insult them at will instead. Doesn't really say that. But then you could bounce a creature back to hand, like if it has an aura pinning it down. Next up, some garbage cell phone shot or something because they keep giving promos to people who don't know how to upload the digital edition. Clocknapper. Oh boy. Hey, at least it's in English. It's a 2/2 for 5, so that's rough. But it enters the battlefield, choose beginning phase, pre-combat main phase, combat phase, post-combat main phase, or ending phase. I don't think those are actually named correctly. Steal that phase from target player during his or her next turn. That phase occurs as though it's yours. So you don't control them during that phase, you just get the phase as if it was yours, well, which is exactly what it says. That's pretty cool. I don't think it's worth 5 at all, especially since, well, I guess beginning phase would be up, tap, unkeep, draw? I don't know. Like, every phase has a beginning. There is nothing called the beginning phase. I don't know. Learning the exact names of the phases and the groups of phases has never come up. Never been relevant in my 4 or 5 years of playing, so whatever. Next up, oh boy, a Gnome Rigger. It's a 1-cost cog mentor, so you can throw this in any deck. It's flying. That's cool. And for 4, you can reassemble target contraption you control. I knew this was coming. Move it onto another one of your sprockets. See, they had to do that in case you set yourself up wrong. And I fully suspect that there will be another card that brings it out of the scrapyard, which is the separate contraption graveyard. Next up, Gimme 5. Now let me just say, there has been such obvious artwork that it was meant to be high-fived in the past, including Kefnet's last word. I mean, it's just insane. So I'm not surprised that they're just like, fine, high 5. This just sounds like fun. Okay, get this. It's a 1-cost white instant. You gain 1 life for each person who high-fives you in the next 30 seconds. Oh my god. Each player in a silver bordered game who high-fives you gains 1 life. Now they had to put in this, offer high-fives, don't hit people. There is a very distinct difference between the two. So, yeah, just watch for that coming around, because it's free life. I almost want to play at my old LGS just so that when somebody comes around, I'll be like, you put that hand away or I will put a knife through it. Gain 1 life right after hell freezes over, buddy. Nope, not after the way you treat people, you trade shark people, you scare away the new players. No, not gonna happen. And then when I'm running around giving high fives because I played the card, they'll be like, oh yeah, let's both get 1 life. I'll be like, you know what? I don't need 1 life that badly and I'm not giving you any. Now notice, this card never says that you can't bring an entire group of 100 people in a single file line with their hands out just in case you play this card and then gain 100 life.
Hey, ho, straight through the heart, I'm for you, and I know you're there for me, give me a high five. Hey, ho, friends till the end, can't you see, that's the way it's gotta be.
Next up, Goblin Haberdasher. It's a Hotfixer? I guess he's a hat collector. He's from TF2. He has Menace, which is awesome, and other creatures you control wearing hats in their art have Menace. I love everything about that. An accessory in every sense of the word. Calvin Klein, Winter Collection. Next up, we got a white enchantment. Go to jail. That's just classic white. I mean, arrest. That other one that sounds like arrest. Exiling. Yeah, that's what they do. I think it was detain. Anyway, when go to jail enters the battlefield, exile target creature an opponent controls until go to jail leaves the battlefield. Simple, simple. But wait, there's more. At the beginning of your upkeep of the exiled card's owner, that player rolls 2 6-sided dice. If he or she rolls doubles, sacrifice go to jail. That is quite literally the rules of Monopoly, so which I believe Hasbro owns, so no problem there. But that's just funny. I mean, that they would kind of like wink and nod, you know, reference another property, because they sure as hell don't do it with Dungeons and Dragons, except for literally the Sword of Dungeons and Dragons. But according to like Mark Rosewater or one of those people, we'll see a beholder on a card when hell freezes over, because even though it's literally the same branch of the same company, they're very protective of their IP. Okay, well, don't, cross-promote or anything, idiots. Next up, another 6 cost that you're never going to be able to pay for, Graveyard Busybody. All graveyards are also your graveyards. That's awesome. Almost every card I've seen so far refers to all graveyards anyway, whether you own them or not. But Graveyard Busybody's power and toughness are each equal to the number of cards with flavor text in your graveyards, with an S. Next up, the most unplayable card in the entire set by far, but I think I've seen a little bit of a loophole for this. Handy Dandy Clone Machine. It's exactly what it sounds like. You pay 2, tap it, create a 2/2 colorless homunculus creature token. It must be represented by a unique hand and 2 fingers at all times, or it ceases to exist. Playing the game one-handed is a bit difficult, I know, since I've had, well, what should have been stitches, but I just took care of it myself and saved $800. But yeah, I've had to play one-handed before. It's no fun. So if your other hand is, some little token homunculus thing, you really can't create another one. You can't play the game. I mean, yeah, you could like try and draw cards with your mouth or something. Good luck. But never said it had to be your hand. So all those people walking around during the unstable draft that are, taking over players' turns and high-fiving people, you could just have them come out and represent 2 more tokens. But the fact that you can create 1 per turn, it's a little rough. You're going to need a lot of people. Next up, Hotfix. Welcome to Microsoft. Another 6-cost spell, dual color, pretty much about as uncastable as it gets. You have 10 seconds to look at and rearrange the cards in your library. That's awesome, 10 seconds, oh my god. But see, who's going to time it? I mean, these are lovely in theory, but in practicality, is somebody just going to count if nobody has a timer app on their phone or nobody has their phone near them? Anyway, at the end of those 10 seconds, if you're touching 1 or more of those cards, shuffle your library. So you have to just pretty much look at probably the top 5, make a quick decision, slap them back down, and hands off. I mean, that's the way I would do it. It's not a carpet moth, it's a feature. That's an old programming/Microsoft joke, so hopefully you got that one. Also, the punch card with the bugs on it, that's like an old like 60s and 70s reference, or whatever, 50s I think it was. Next up, Infinity Elemental. This one's awesome because it looks like what happens when you point a camera directly at its own monitor. It does cost 7 though, it's triple red, so ouch. But it has infinite power. So basically they got like Wonka text that repeats itself over and over. But only 5 toughness, so you might be able to take it out. If you can't, I mean, at least it doesn't have trample. Still, I think this is less powerful than the 12/12 trample dinosaur that you can cast for 2 that'll be in Rivals. Next up, It That Gets Left Hanging, which I assume is a reference to the high 5 card, and also It That Rides is 1. Cost 6 though, so watch out for that, but it is a horror. That's always cool. Those tend to be powerful, so when it that gets left hanging enters battlefield, ask a person outside the game to high-five you. If she, or he or she, or Z, or they, or, oh, geez, wizards, how sexist of you. It that gets left hanging gains haste until end of turn. What's the statute of limitations before you can withdraw the offer? I mean, if you're just like, high five, oh, too slow, that seems a little excessive. But seriously, who hasn't, like, summoned a massively powerful creature and then been like, yeah, high five? I don't think I've ever done this, but I've thought about it. Next up, just desserts, spelled correctly. It's an instant to cost 2. It deals pi damage to target creature. Pi is the ratio of a circle's circumference to its diameter. It's a smidgen more than 3 point, and then... well, 2 parentheses, that's actually correct. There has to be something after the decimal point. It's like 3.1415927 or something like that, rounded. So if you duplicate this spell exactly 8 times, you'll be able to get that extra point of damage. Otherwise, just ignore the 0.14 and pretend it said 3. Yeah, I'm taking all the fun out of it, but I'm going to this draft to win. All right, there's like a crap ton of these left, so I'm just going to upload this as is and make part 2. So, well, or part 8, actually, we're on. Screw it, I'm going to make it 7B just because I can. Watch for that, and I'll see you guys next video.